Gentlemen, good afternoon and welcome to the Clarion Hotel for the Cork Chamber Town Hall debate based purely on the issues that arise from the Chamber Manifesto and what the Chamber as a business body wants to see from the political system over the next number of years. 4 key pillars of the Chamber come under the title of number 1, competitiveness, securing the strengths that we already have and developing more for the future. That would be in terms of planning, energy prices, a very contentious issue all the time, and Cork Airport, its governance. It still isn't certain heading into another new government, and we need to look at that. Employment and enterprise. I hear constantly being involved in media of the difficulty of everyday doing business, the cost of doing business. Transport and infrastructure. A huge issue is the docklands. Because of the difficulty with the economy, the docklands look very much on hold. We'll want to know from our panel what they will do. Public transport. We hear so much about the need for better public transport. Again, it's up for discussion. Road tolling. It's an issue. There may be a toll imposed on the Jack Lynch tunnel. That could be discussed. Flood protection. In 2009, we had some of the worst floods in the history of the state here in our city. There are still issues arising from that. Waste management and other issues come under that part number 3. Reform, making the system work. Reform in the public sector. Local government, getting its power back. It can act more strongly and with more authority locally.
What we were trying to do was identify issues that were important to the business community, focusing on areas like the competitiveness part. The bankruptcy laws we have at the moment effectively mean that good entrepreneurs who were in the wrong place when the music stopped are out of business for a period of 12 years based in Ireland. And that really, for me, isn't acceptable. I believe there should be an opportunity for people to have a second chance. And also in the whole reform structure. And you would have heard me mention before about regulation. And we had very light touch regulation, which causes significant difficulties at the banking and at the senior or very large company level. But actually at the small company level, where the rest of us deal with, there was zealous regulation, which causes tremendous difficulties. And what we need is a balance. So we need regulation, but we need it in a balanced way that allows business to proceed and prosper.
I mean, it is a serious manifesto. It is a serious request of the political parties to come up with proposals to address the concerns of the Chamber. I mean, we need to get competitiveness back into the economy. We need to we need creativity in the context of investment in education and innovation and design. And we need to get credit flowing. But most importantly, we have to get confidence back into the broader economy, both into individuals and society collectively. When you look at the Cork economy and the broader Munster region, we have an airport. Of fundamental importance to that is the connectivity. We are an island nation, but the Cork airport is of critical importance. And I know that governance is raised in your manifesto as well. The difficulty here, of course, is that there's a huge debt with the Cork airport. That in itself is a huge challenge for either the Dublin Airport Authority or whoever takes over Cork Airport in the years ahead. We have to reduce the burden to businesses, the whole issue of local authority charges. How do we fund local authority? At the present time, businesses are the ones that are funding local authorities primarily through the rates. And we cannot continually go back to that for the crock of gold that's no longer there. So we have to bring forward proposals on how we fund local authorities and how we provide local services. The other key issue, of course, is energy. That's a big cost to businesses across the region. And investment in clean tech and in green energies and renewables is a significant factor in making sure that we're competitive in the broader context of our competitors across the globe as well.
It is our ambition that by 2016 we will have created a country which is the most competitive place to do business in the world. We want to adopt a model that is supported by the Governor of the Central Bank, which has been adopted in Chile, which is a partial loan guarantee scheme. So if you're a small business that goes to a bank and wants to borrow 200,000 euros to expand and grow your business, and the bank is only willing to lend you 150, the state, under certain conditions, will intervene to actually guarantee the final 50,000 to allow a bank release that fund for you. And someone said to me on the way in, look, what can a new government do anyway? We've got no money to spend. The answer to that is that we have grown used to government that changes things by spending more money. We now need a government that can change things to save money, to change the way we do things, to change how infrastructure works, to change how management systems work in the public sector, to change the way in which politics works and is structured. And the next government, whoever leads it, needs to be the most reforming government since the 1920s. in terms of how the state operates. The issue of Cork Airport relates to the debt that is attached with building the new terminal. You cannot solve the problem of Cork Airport. And what I want to see is an independent, debt-free Cork Airport with an ambitious management in place that use the airport as a driver for the region and bring people in here. But you cannot achieve that without solving the debt issues in the DAA. And the reality is that we have seen a 40% increase in passenger charges at the same time as a 30% decrease in passenger numbers. That is madness. And it needs to change, and we need to find a way of dealing with the debt issues, which is about 1.2 billion euros of debt within the DEA attached to Terminal 2 in Dublin, the new terminal in Cork, and investment in Shannon, so that we can move away from passengers having to service debt. And then we'll be in a position to make Cork Airport independent and debt-free.
The biggest damage that has been caused to the Irish economy in the last 3 years has been the loss of hope and confidence. What we need to strengthen is our own indigenous sector in the small and medium enterprises in particular. There is ingenuity in Ireland. There is the capacity to take risks and build on that risk to create future wealth. The running of any business and the business economy in general depends on the overall environment, and that remains poor. The control of overheads, the ability to access markets, the ability to keep businesses viable on an ongoing basis, these are still difficulties for many small and medium-sized enterprises. What we need to do is have a different type of banking system. We have to identify the commercial bank, we have to identify the development bank, we have to identify the small savers and easy loans to small and medium enterprises bank. And they'll have to be structured differently and named differently. These are the challenges that are ahead to us. Whatever is in the manifesto of any political party, no political party and no government can create jobs. The best they can do, the best they can hope for, is to create the environment in which jobs can be created.
Dan is right to some extent when he says that government policies don't create jobs. But by God, government policies can actually hinder jobs being created. There is a bureaucracy here hindering job creation, and that a lot of red tape that exists must be cut through. There are 230,000 small and medium enterprises across the country, that you account for half of the Irish workforce in the private sector, just under 1 million people. And one sector in particular that we have been listening to is the retail sector, who are the single biggest private sector employer in the country, who are being crucified at the moment, and are particularly being crucified on the issue of upward-only rent reviews. Crucified on the basis that their rents were last established at the height of a property bubble, and now that their rents are coming up for review, can only be reviewed upwards in recession time. The Labour Party and government will reform the GLCs. We will put in place independent chairpersons there. Why? Because, very simply, the last 300 GLC rulings have only fallen, in terms of the last 300 of them, have only fallen once in favour of employers. That has to be wrong. It has to be wrong. If it was falling the other way, it would be wrong. So it has to be reformed and has to be fixed. And we recognise that and we see that. This country needs a national investment bank, one that provides capital, one that provides venture capital particularly, that provides the sort of credit that small and medium enterprise businesses actually need to survive in these tough and difficult times.
Vital infrastructure to allow people to be able to take up opportunities, again, looking in a very positive way. New generation of cooperatives, cooperative business, setting up a fund that would actually assist and support the establishment of business cooperatives. Again, job creation for under 25s, again, focusing on youth unemployment. We're seeing a lot of young people, unfortunately, leaving the country, being forced out of the country, and we would focus again on those those under 25, to create an opportunity for them to stay in Ireland and develop on the education that they've had already, and creating a new generation of entrepreneurs. And again, looking at the PRSI system to create a safe net for those who are attempting to establish their own businesses and launching a national entrepreneurship programme. The breakup of local authority and public sector construction services and procurement contracts to make it more viable for smaller businesses to tend for these. I suppose overall the party has committed in the past to a pledge on Cork Airport, and that commitment still lies there. The vital infrastructure and the docklands, the bridges, they're a commitment that we certainly will be pushing forward to create the opportunity to develop further and kickstart the docklands development. So thanks very much.